Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Is that good for me?
It's Mr. McGay.
And Venus a povo.
That's it. Good. Let's talk about it now. Well, we've put together this series is because we have a lot to talk about. Obviously, that's why it's called Let's Talk About It Now. And there's a couple of wonderful things that me and this young lady have in common. Some of them you can see.
Yes, you can.
Some of them you can't. Oh, good. That means I'm beautiful too, obviously. Yes. Yes, but I am African American, born and raised in the United States of America.
And I am Afro-French, born and raised for 38 years in Paris, France.
Yes. And about another thing that no one else is going to know by just looking, is it?
What?
We both have mixed race children.
Oh, yes, we do.
Yes, we both have mixed race children. So when it comes to all of these issues within our community, obviously we have a different point of view than the average for many different reasons. But it is quite important because I believe that we are the new age type person that's out there. Not because we have mixed relationships and mixed race people, but I do believe that the mindset that it took for us to make those choices mean to me that we see ourselves as people of the world, not mixing and things like that. This is not in my thought patterns or nature.
Well, for me, it's really, quite simple. I was taught, and I taught myself to judge people not by the color of their skin, but by what they have inside themselves, their soul, their heart. So today, the issue of race is, of course, something I'm very aware of, because you know what? I might not see color, but a lot of people remind me every day that I'm black, and that is apparently something bad, but it's not at all. That's why I wanted to do that. Let's talk about it now, because I think it's definitely important that we are all able to talk about the color of our skin, our cultures, our countries, our history, without killing each other.
Yes. So let's talk about it now. It's going to be a series of podcasts that we're going to do. This one is going to be 6 weeks long. And the first one in this series, we're going to be talking about systematic racism or institutionalized racism, whichever way you want to use it.
Meaning, because that's important. That's something, I'm French, so for me, it's not always easy to understand every word. So I've put definitions, so everybody understand what we are talking about. So we are talking about when someone is treated unfairly because of their race, and that has become part of the normal behavior of people within an organization. And for me, that kind of racism is the worst. Right. Because what we're saying is, I was born in Paris, France, and I am not given the same opportunity that my neighbor who has white skin.
Right.
And for me, if I don't have the certainty that I'm not going to be treated fairly, how do you expect me to be cool about it?
Yes.
And for me, that's the worst racism possible. Today, what we want is make sure that this kind of behavior that says Venus, because she was born black, because she's African, is not going to have the same right as her neighbor who is born white, and for whom all the doors are going to be opened. I can't say yes to that. And this we have to fight.
Because of all these conversations I've had over the last month to 6 weeks with all of these people that were friends of mine or colleagues or whatnot, a lot of people always have alternative ideas. For example,
Like
Black Lives Matter, all lives matter. So everything that you just said right now, that because you are black or of African descent, all of a sudden now it seems like you don't have opportunities, but a white family's opportunities, doors are wide open. Now, as you're saying it, I can hear in the vibe of the ether all of these people going, well, the doors weren't open for me. Well, I'm not white or black and they didn't do it for me. Well, I have a problem too. Well, that's the whole issue. There is a clique or a group of people that has opportunities, that has resources,
Well,
and they're free. Anybody.
You're talking about the elite.
The elite, well, we can call them elite. But then at the same time, a franchise restaurant owner is not necessarily elite. But he's responsible for all the people who get hired and work in his restaurant.
Yeah.
So the thing is, I don't know this guy. He doesn't owe anybody, white, black, Asian. He doesn't owe anyone anything.
Okay.
If you look into HR or any type of class that tells you how to interview to get a job, they tell you to put on a suit. They tell you to make sure you're clean. They tell you to make sure you look in their eyes, talk strongly, strong handshake. That's all so you can impress the person, only to let them know I'm an okay person and I can work in your group.
Yeah.
In any HR situation where they are training you to get a job, they will always tell you the person who gets the job is the one that can gel with the group of people that's already working. If you got an interview, they have looked at your CV and they can see that you can do the job.
Yes. I get what you're saying. And what can I tell you? We know that whatever we do, we go to school.
Have to cut off your dreadlocks.
Cut off the dreadlocks, no afro, have our hair straightened, whatever. And we still don't get the job. I defy anyone to deny that. We do know that whatever you do, when you're a visible minority, you can adapt, you can change yourself and do everything they want you to do and not get the job because the person in front of you thinks that you won't
fit in.
You won't fit in.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we're saying.
I could easily say that doesn't mean he's racist because he don't think you'll fit in. But it does mean he didn't give you a chance because he don't think you'll fit in.
No, it doesn't mean he's racist, but it does. It
does mean he's working from unconscious bias to me.
He is.
He's still working from unconscious bias.
And that is, even if he's, that's kind of like complicated, but even if he's not racist, he's still applying systematic racism rule.
Yes.
So he's indirectly racist, but at the end of the day, he's racist, even if it's not conscious. If you agree with that kind of rules, meaning I'm not going to take her because she's black, that is
that was direct.
Systematic racism applied to a person of a different race than yours. And that's the definition of it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Now, if we want really to make the difference between racism, prejudice, yes, it's not the same thing, but at the end of the day, the result is the same. And that's what is a problem today.
That's the problem.
That is dangerous.
That's what makes it systematic. Okay. If you are not openly looking for the best person, not looking because they're the coolest, not looking because they're just like me, not looking just because they like the same car, just the best person.
Just the best person.
And to me, a lot of you people who are in these types of positions, you don't even understand what you're missing out on.
No.
In order to bring somebody else from another culture who is hungry enough to come to your organization saying, I can do this for you.
Yeah.
They could actually come and put practices and ideas that can make your company better.
Don't you think that fear is another factor that we black people don't even understand? Because, I always joke that, white people don't know us. I always joke, saying they don't know us. I mean, honestly, we live in their country. We get used to their culture. We eat their food. We do whatever they do. A different level, okay? But they don't really know us.
No, they
That's
don't
why
know
they
us. No.
fear us. They fear us. I mean, I know what a white person is. I know what they eat. I know how they live. I know what they like, what they don't like.
That's true.
But they don't really know me.
No, that's very true.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
So that's why I'm always trying to be, how can I say that? Not nice, or I'm always trying to understand when someone reject me. Not that I absolutely want to be their friend, but I try to understand their mindset.
Right.
Are they really racist, or do they just not know what they are talking about?
Yeah.
So you see, that's why I'm trying to balance all the time, because if you answer by anger and violence, it's not a solution.
No, it's not.
I'm not saying that I'm trying to educate every white people I meet, but I'm always trying to understand why. Because I live in a white country. I don't live in Africa, where people will not question, why are you here? Why? You see what I mean?
Yes,
etc., etc. When it comes to the responsibility of our leaders, that's where I say, no way. You cannot be,
like, for example, give me an example.
Well, you cannot be in a position of power and not know your people. And I'm saying every kind of people.
Even the 14%.
Exactly.
Even the 5%.
Exactly. And you cannot justify the fact that you're going to apply certain rules for certain people. Then for me, you are guilty of open racism. Because if the leader is racist, how do you want people to follow that person and act, in an appropriate way? How do you want people to think, if he's doing it, it means it's cool.
Or that's what we're supposed to do.
You see what I mean?
Or this is how we believe. Yes,
So
I do. Because
that's where
here in the UK right now, the prime minister, the leader here, the prime minister, this man has been recorded calling Asian women who wear burqas letterboxes.
Yeah, let's take that example.
If that is not condoning social separation, I don't know what does.
So that's a perfect example of what I cannot accept, and where I say this is dangerous. Because if the prime minister can say things like that, what do you think people in the street gonna think? If he's saying it, it's cool. And if he's saying it, it means these people are lesser than me.
That's right.
And that's where, for me, systematic racism is so dangerous.
Right. That's where it begins.
And that's where we have to say enough is enough. And when I say we, and I repeat myself, I'm not talking of black people only. I'm talking of every white person and all other shades who has a heart. Okay? We are all human beings, and we are all entitled to the same rights. If you don't think that, then you're racist. More and more people are standing up thinking this is not right. Our leaders today, politicians, religious, corporation, everybody who has the power to influence positively a group of people,
you have a responsibility.
You have a responsibility.
Yes.
And
you have a responsibility.
And we should make sure, as individuals, that this kind of behavior are not accepted in our society. Yeah. And I think that's where the fight should focus on.
That's
you see what I mean?
That's it.
It's everybody should really stand up and fight against that.
If you're not fighting for things like everyone healthcare system, if you're not fighting to make sure that everybody gets their own job, if you're not trying to support somebody who has a black-owned company, you're not helping. You're not helping to fix the problem. Like for a question, I wish I could have a format to where I could speak to every non-black person in the United States of America, and I would say, would you guys support this black-owned company with this product? I would doubt you would get 10% saturation of people saying yes.
Yeah, but
I don't feel that. I haven't done it. I don't really know the answer to that question. but I don't believe it. From the actions that I've seen of the people around me and the things that's happening in the media, no, I don't. I actually have people around me that rather than saying, you know what, I got to admit, the stuff that has been going on since the 60s, just since I was alive, I get it now. I still have people telling me, go back to your own country. You're doing the race card. What about all the things that the other black people are doing? And these are people who were my peers.
It's scary and it's sad, but I always tell my kids, yes, it can look like it's bad, and we are not, getting out of this horrible white, black racism. It's getting better. I mean, we don't have to sit, at the back of the bus anymore. But even when I say that, I'm not convinced myself, because the proof that it is not over, and it's far from over, is that we can still see what we saw with George Floyd's death. And what are we going to do?
Yes.
To not to see that ever again? I don't have the solution, but I do say one thing: please open your eyes, open your heart, educate yourself, wake up. And I'm not speaking to black people only. I insist on that. Stop closing your eyes and turning your back when you see injustice in front of your eyes. We have to find a solution. We have to. And because I want to believe that one day a black person will be treated fairly in a white society. And the question is it possible today?
Yes.
Is it? Do you think it is?
As I think about that question, I want to say yes. And I can tell you right now, if we post this to the general public, there's going to be a bunch of black people that are going to say yes.
Okay, can I ask you a question then?
Yes.
Do you think, as a black person, after 16 years in the UK, do you think that you're being treated fairly?
No, I don't think I've been treated fairly.
Do you think you've been treated fairly in America?
Definitely not. I definitely was treated a lot better in the UK than America. But where I say, yeah, it's possible to be treated fairly, only in micro circles.
Okay.
Micro circles. In general, everywhere, heck no.
Okay.
Heck no. I can't. It's difficult for me to have 5 days travel from my house to the job and back home without a microaggression from a late 40s to early 60-year-old Caucasian male.
Okay.
This is quite common for me.
The age gap you gave what is quite interesting. So you're telling me that you usually have issues with people between 40 and 60.
Late 40s to 60 years old.
Okay, so do you think it's a generation thing then?
I definitely know it's a generational thing. Someone that's closer to my age, we're peers. We can relate on a certain level. He might even appreciate my music. But about 4 to 5 years older to a decade older, here in this country, it's okay if you have unconscious bias as long as no one sees you do it.
Yeah, for me, that's something that is very difficult for me to understand, because in France, racism is in your face. You know who is racist, they will tell you in your face. It's clear as water.
Yes,
you don't even have to second guess it.
That's it.
And actually, it's awful what I'm going to say, but you get used to it. You learn to deal with it from very early. It's just something that's part of your education. Then you arrive here in the UK, where when I arrived for the first time, in my 20s, I was 19. I spent 3 years in the UK, and I really saw that London. I'm speaking actually, I should say London, sorry, because I don't know the rest of the UK.
London.
And I thought London is wonderful. I really felt safe, welcome, everything. Mm-hmm. But now that I've spent 8 years, 8 years in London, there's one thing I can't stand. Is the fact that you do meet people who don't like you. You do meet people who will say things that are plainly racist, but in a way so subtle. It's so subtle. You're like, wow.
Yeah.
If I react to that the way I want to react to that, that means
Yeah.
with
It will make you.
I am the aggressor. And I
That's
thought
right.
that is
That's right.
so cool.
That's
I mean,
my
they are
thing.
good. They
Yeah.
are bloody good.
Very good.
And that's
Very
why
good.
I have to say today, I less in love with London, because I've been in situation where I'm like, oh, you can't say that. You can't discuss it. You can feel it. But if you do react to it, you will be branded the angry black
Yeah.
woman.
That's it. Or the
And
angry
that
black man.
really
Yes.
annoys me.
Yes,
Because
yes,
in
yes.
a way, what I've learned in the UK, actually what I'm asked to do is to be less black when I'm with white people. And I can't accept that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so that's what do I prefer? I like to know my enemy.
Yeah. But then, okay, what about you? Do you think it's possible for you to
be-
live without racism?
Well, you mean for a black person to be
Yeah.
treated fairly in a white society?
Yeah.
Highly unlikely today. I'm saying today. It's no, actually, no. It's no. I don't believe in it. You know what? I've been in situation where I had to pray, and I don't pray when going to interviews or going to get a flat, thinking, oh, please, I hope this person like black people and is not racist. And you kind of like, I hate when I say we have to get used to it. We learn. It's part of our education.
Yes.
It
is.
It's part, and that's bad. That is so bad.
Because I gotta say, the young majority children don't have this ideal.
I know.
They don't have this ideal.
No.
They don't go places wondering, I wonder if they're gonna accept me. Here's a good story. I came here in 2004. I came on January 1st, 2004, but I didn't get my visa until October 9th, 2004.
Okay.
So for all that time, I had to sit on my backside, right?
Okay.
Couldn't get a job, had no recourse for money. If I would have got a job under the table, they'd have kicked me out of the country just as fast.
Okay.
So the day I got my visa and I touched down at Heathrow, I went and started putting out applications. I made a phone call about the job just so I can come in and get an application. I get to chatting to the guy, come to find out he was the actual hiring manager there.
Okay.
He could hear my accent, that I was American. I told him my name was Edward McGee. Yeah. And when he heard McGee, he said, oh, are you Scottish? Oh, you must be Scottish. At the time, I had no idea about my genealogy, but McGee, yeah, I've always fantasized about it being Scottish. Maybe I'll go to see Loch Ness one day. So, okay, I went with it. I said, yeah, I think I am. He said, with his mouth during this phone call, he said, oh, wow, it's nice. One of my brothers has come back home. This is what he said, because I was a McGee. He was Scottish.
Yeah. Oh, funny.
He said, you know what? Don't even worry about the interview. You got the job. Show up here on Monday at this address for 8:30. This is the yard. This is where you go. This is where the van's at. We got the materials. You come on in. I'll give you a uniform and you can start training on Monday morning. I'm like, woohoo, I love this place. I got a job that fast. That's too good. So I show up on Monday morning. I'm at the address. I show up early. I got there about 8:10. And I'm just hoping to see somebody. So I'm standing at the end of the yard, at the end of the fence, right where he told me. And I'm looking around. I see all these people standing,
Yeah.
looking. What is this idiot doing standing? What is he standing around for? No one comes and approaches me. No one says anything, but I'm still standing there. I look at my watch. It's 8:30.
Yeah.
So I go, fine. No one's going to come talk to me. Fine. I'm going to go and talk to them. So I walked over to the most non-dirty person I can see and figured he must be the manager.
Okay.
I walked up to that guy and I said, hey, I'm looking for Tony Smallwood. He looked at me perplexed. I'm Tony Smallwood. Who wants to know? I said, oh, it's me. I'm Edward McGee. Oh my goodness. He got a scab on his chin because his mouth hit the floor so hard.
Yeah.
And I just looked at him like, wait, you remember our conversation, right? You said you gonna give me a job. You know, your brother that came home.
Yeah.
His mouth is still on the floor. And said, well, come on anyway. Come on.
Yeah.
And he gave me the job anyway.
Wow. How did he go?
Oh.
Did he go well?
Yeah. I stayed there for 2 years. I got all kind of promotions and everything. But no. That's because of my resilience.
Yeah, okay.
My resilience.
No,
not because of how anything that had to do with him or that job. Yeah, my own resilience.
But don't you think, okay, I get you because I've been there, you know, because I'm called Venus Apovo. People sometimes think I'm Italian.
Ah, okay.
Can you see this? Okay,
that's it,
okay.
That's
so I've been in that situation before. Don't you think that your resilience maybe educated that man to think otherwise?
Yes, I do know for a fact.
Do you think that even if it's, and I do get you, it's tiring, it's unfair, it's sometimes infuriating. Don't you think that it's a good story, even if it started?
Yes.
In
of course, it's
not that
story.
great. It's a good story.
I mean, to me, it's a good story for a couple of different reasons.
And so that guy was not a total racist.
No.
You got the job and you kind of educated him.
Yes.
What's the best?
Well, the best is always going to be able to provide for me and my family.
Yeah.
So being resilient and getting through the situation is always going to be the best.
Yeah.
And two, me being resilient, you are right in what you said. Within the next year, they had hired other black people.
Ah, ben voilà.
Yes.
So,
and they were happy. They were happy to tell it to me at least once every month to 3 months that I was the first black person to ever work there. Why would somebody want to say that? And why is it something that is said over and over and over? There's no need, but that's how it makes me feel.
But thanks to you, well, and I'm saying that, you know, thanks to you. So you finally got into that company who finally understood that black people were what? Human beings? That were what?
No.
Good employees?
Yes, and that's where I would go. I would say good employees.
Would you say that these people saw that black people were their equals?
I wouldn't go that far.
From your experience.
What they end up noticing about me as an individual, and that's what I mean. They did hire a couple other black guys, but me as an individual, one, they had a 2-week training program. I did it in 7 days.
Okay.
Two, you're supposed to start working in a 2-man group when you finish the training.
And
they sent me out by myself. And I'd never driven in this country. They gave me a van and said, here's your route, go ahead and go.
Okay.
And to me, again, that was oppression. The only thing they didn't understand, I'm always up for your challenge and I will beat you. And that's the thing for me. They didn't understand that me training that way makes me a stronger person.
Yeah.
So then within the next 10 months, you know, they wanted me supervise, do all these things. In the end, one of their customers ended up giving me a lot better job than what they could have ever offered. It was my resilience that made the best out of that situation.
So we do agree that, it's are we going to say impossible for a black person to be treated fairly in a white society? Or are we going to say it happens, but we are not aware of it?
Yes, I would like to say it does happen, but only in micro groups.
Yeah, no, I get you. I'm being a little bit cheeky and provocative. I'm always sad when we have to educate people and we have to prove ourselves as good workers, good employees, good human people, good human being, good woman, whatever, good. It's annoying and it's tiring. And what else can we do? What else can we do?
That's a good question. We could start our own businesses. We could set up our own infrastructures. We could set up our own networks. But unfortunately, there's too many people that I've spoken to that have told me, I'm being a separatist.
Oh.
Now, to me, that's quite sad. So you're saying that, okay, fine, I want to do that. They won't let me in. fine, so I'll do my own. You can't do that because now you're separating.
I do understand. Yeah, have your own business, be your own person. But don't you think that if we do that, because it's possible, we can do that, definitely.
Right.
Don't you think that it doesn't solve the problem? It doesn't solve the problem. We can indeed create our own businesses, be our own person, maybe hire only black people.
Right.
But it doesn't solve the problem.
Why do you say not? I think it does. Only for the fact of saying, I don't need to rely on you. That's number one. If we didn't need to rely on them, then we wouldn't be in a situation where we were told we're playing victims or using the race card. That's one. Two, if we had actual financial competition, you would have to be looked at on an equal level. Case in point, 7-7. No black person in the world was supposed to spend any money yesterday. In order to prove the point to the financial world, this is our monetary value to you. And if you don't like us, you will stop getting this monetary value. That's what the 7-7 was all about. But to me, what we don't understand is deeper than that. Because at the moment, we won't spend on 7-7. So that means they already know this. You're going to spend it on the 6th or you're going to spend it on the 8th.
Yeah.
So they know they'll get it sometime within their quarter of the year. Oh, we'll get it. We're just not going to get it that day.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to understand is the solution to this racism, is it to separate ourselves from white people, or is it possible today to live together?
Well, see, that's a question for them to ask. Because in order to ask the question that way, you got to show me a group of black people in Western society that say we don't want white people around here. You got to show me that group to ask the question that way.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
To say it that way, because right now we're the ones that are wanting acceptance, and what I'm saying is, in order to be in an equal world, we need just as many white people saying, I want to be accepted into your culture as you got black people saying, I want to be accepted into yours. You need both of them to be equal. And at the moment, other than an Eminem or a couple of girls that want to have mixed race babies, no. In general, do you think Donald Trump wishes he was black? Do you think Boris Johnson wishes he was black? No. Until this type of idea change, no. Overall, I don't think it's going to change at all.
Okay. Yeah, I get your point, and as you can see, I'm completely deflated by your answer. But
no,
anyway.
but no, I mean,
no.
In an equal realm, I mean, even in an equal relationship, when the man and the woman both want to be together, they actually have a pretty good relationship.
Yeah,
but what happens when one of those people in the relationship go, I don't think I like this anymore?
Yeah. No. I completely get what you're saying. I'm just trying to understand I'm just trying to find a solution, really. I'm positive. I'm trying to be optimistic. I'm trying to tell myself we are not that bad and we are going to one day live in harmony. So maybe call me naive, but
and we can live in harmony. I believe we can. I've grown my whole life thinking that we can.
I mean, can I ask you a question? Because you know that when we met, I told you that it's interesting for me to meet an American person, a real one, not get the knowledge through TV, because you know that TV and media, you can't really rely on them anymore. I mean, knowing the story of America, slavery, I forgot the name, sorry. And what happened after when they said, oh, finally, you know what, you're free, but creating another system of slavery.
Emancipation Proclamation.
Finally using people as slave without calling them slave, as, until today. Right. I mean, we are still in that system where a black person today is a slave. As an American person, knowing what you had to go through during your childhood, knowing the story of your ancestor, knowing how it is today, would you say that the situation is still better than nothing?
Actually, if I'm going to tell the absolute truth, the best time I had in life was when I lived in an all-black neighborhood, went to an all-black school.
In America?
Yes, in America. And the only white man that I knew was a man who owned the corner store.
Okay.
That my grandfather used to give me and my cousin change to go and get candy.
Did you feel safe living in all black?
I felt completely safe. And this is the thing. During those days, we had respect for everybody in that neighborhood. Like case in point, my dad had me walking to school. And there was some liquor store on one of the corners where I had to cross to get to my school. And the winos would show up before the store opened and they would be hanging out on the corner.
Yeah.
My mother was afraid of me going there on my own or with my next door neighbor going back and forth to the school. So my dad took me to school one morning and he took me over to the winos.
Okay.
And he told them, all of them that were there, this is my son.
Yeah.
You see me, you see my son. You see my son, understand that you know me.
Okay.
You make sure that this boy crosses this street properly and doesn't get hurt every day.
Okay.
And if he tells me that he had some problems when he came to this corner, I'm coming to talk to you.
Okay.
Do you know that every morning, me and myself, if I was by myself or my cousin or my next door neighbor's friends walking to school together, they helped us every single morning. We didn't have a lollipop guy like they call him, the dude with the stop sign.
Yeah.
It was the actual winos themselves, and they helped us just because we were young black kids. That's it.
Okay.
I was never called never called that in my all black neighborhood.
Yeah.
I could walk from one end of the block all the way to the other one, and every last one of those elders in that block knew me and my cousins.
Okay. So do you think that maybe that's what we should get back to? Only black.
That's segregation. That's separation.
So what do we do? I don't like the idea of segregation. I don't.
I don't either. When it comes down to it, we are not equal.
I've lived long enough to know that some people, and I'm not saying everybody, because I've met some really extraordinary people. They are not all thinking like that. Of course, you will. Well, maybe not. Some black people will tell you they've never been subjected to racism, and good for them. Well, that's another. No,
Yeah, let's get them as a guest and come in here and talk one of these weeks.
That's another story to tell. But I refuse to back up, even if I know what I will have to go through to get where I want to be.
I don't necessarily want to pull away from their group so we can say, this is mine, this is yours.
Yeah.
What I want to do is raise my value. And when I say my value, I'm talking about me, my people, our systems, and everything we do. At the moment, the continent of Africa is not in a state where they can be looked at as imperial at all. Not at all.
No, we agree, but why?
But the thing is, until we have things, and that's what this whole world, capitalism, materialism is all about. It's things. Until we have a certain amount of things, they are not going to respect us because we can't get these things.
No, I'm sorry. I don't agree with that. I think that the world is mine. And they went to my country to get whatever they wanted and take all the...
And they're still doing it now.
And they're still doing it now. So I don't see why I should be allowed to live anywhere I want and work and live anywhere I want. The world is mine. And I'm not talking, Africa is mine, but the UK is mine, France is mine, because everywhere in this country, there's a part of me.
Right.
There's a part of Africa. So I don't see why, because they are not happy today in having, they don't want any black people to live in their country, or they don't want any black people in power, or they don't want any black people to succeed when they use my people, my country, my natural resources, and everything else to be on their own. The only solution is wherever you are, Africa, Europe, America, Australia, Russia, educate yourself.
Yes.
And this is not a color thing. Educate yourself, know your history as a black person, as a white person, and then move on and try, to be fair. I know it's not easy, but you can.
Just try to be fair.
You see what I mean?
Just try to be fair.
Which will allow anyone, any color, to live anywhere. But when it comes to systematic racism, institutional racism, we have to stop lying to people by rewriting or erasing huge part of history. And we have to have the same rules for everybody. White, black, women, men, LGBTQ plus, and any kind of human being on earth. And that's it.
What can we do about it? So, after all those different wonderful ideas, the last thing I could come up with, the day that I called you, that was the 16th of June when I called you.
Yeah.
I woke up that morning and the idea of a Renaissance was in my mind. So I did. First thing I did was go and research the Renaissance.
Let me say the word as it should be said. Renaissance.
Oh, yes. She has that beautiful French voice. Hey, I can't touch it. Ain't it beautiful? Say it for me again.
Oh, God. Renaissance.
Oh, yes. What I came up with is that in 1300 to 1700 was the Renaissance. And what they said is that Renaissance actually sparked the technological age, which pushed us to where we are now.
Okay.
1300, the Renaissance, they said they had religion, authors, creatives, politicians. All of these types of groups were actually doing things for the Renaissance.
Okay.
The music of the time was of the Renaissance type. The religion was going through a change. The only problem is we were missing then. We were missing then. So while they were writing, we were not writing with them.
Okay.
They were writing for themselves and about themselves.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why we were missing at that time, I don't know. And I'm not going to allow it to be thought that they were already being racist. That's not true. The first black man being sold for profit wasn't done until 1444, I believe it was, in Portugal.
Okay.
So when the Renaissance first started, it had nothing to do about a black man is less than me. This was not the rhetoric of that time. It took about another 150 years.
Yeah.
But everybody was writing to start this technological age. Second thing to this Renaissance, everybody is talking about the growth and the moving into the new world and growing things and growing countries, growing religion. So when it came to the point that Portugal sold a black man, think of it now. That was the first time that they made a person property to make money off of.
Okay.
After that happened, it became a trend. Oh, these guys were pretty good. Oh, let's go see. And I think they were sold to some priests. The Portugal people sold them to some priests. The people who are going to see the priests, oh, what's that you have? Oh, these are my servants. Oh, they're wonderful people. Also keep in mind, slavery was different at that time. People were slaves because they couldn't pay debts. They've done something, caused damages they couldn't fix, whatever. And there was normally fixed amount of times that you were going to be a slave. Now, being an indentured servant for the rest of your life, this was a new idea. Making money off of selling this person from one person to another, it's a new idea. So by the time it got to the point where somebody said, hey, I can make some money off of it, now we done pushed it into the 1600s. And then there was a capitalist perversion put on it.
Okay.
Someone said, oh, look over at this country. There's millions of them. Think of the money we can make. They weren't necessarily saying we hate black people now. There was somebody who was trying to make business. Add on 300 more years, now you have a process. There's a process going.
So we agree that with your, it's called Ngozi Renaissance.
Yes, the Ngozi Renaissance.
You want people to get together and create that new, how do you call it?
It's a new idea.
New movement, whatever. But I think that the next generation have all the keys, all the tools, not to believe the bullshit. Oh, sorry, I swore.
Don't worry.
That they will try to feed them with. You know what they have that we don't have? They know things. The young today. They know things that we didn't know back in the days.
Right.
They are taught things today that will help them become better adults, better human beings than we were. I've got faith in them. I have.
You hear that? We counting on you, young people.
Well, yeah. We
counting on you to fix it for yourself.
And I rely on people our age to tell the truth.
As we come to a close, again, I'd just like to say, everybody out there, stay safe.
Oh, yeah. Be kind.
That's it. Be kind and
educate yourself.
Educate yourself and be open-minded to anti-racism. It's no longer enough just to say, I didn't do it.
Yeah.
You have to make sure that others are not doing it as well.
Open your eyes.
That's it. And to anybody who is, I gotta say it, of Caucasian descent, white, whatever you want to call that, I am not having this conversation to diminish you, nor take anything, money, power, anything away from you. I am asking you to be part of the group as well. No one is going to want to kill you or make you a slave. We want to work together fairly in a world that's meant for everybody. I don't want an alien to come down here before you finally fight shoulder to shoulder with me.
Vive la Renaissance.
Vive la Renaissance. So we will bring more to you next week. Same time, same place. Have a good one.
Yeah, bye.